The Giants have chosen to put all of their faith back into Eli, deciding not to take a quarterback with the second overall pick. Did they make a mistake? Or are none of these guys better than the 35-year-old two-time Super Bowl winner? Carson Wentz was the leading MVP candidate before his season ended in Week 14. With him healthy and ready to go Week 1, can the Eagles be the first team not named the Patriots to win back-to-back Super Bowls since 1994? Ezekiel Elliott has averaged over 100 rushing yards per game in his 2 NFL seasons. There is no doubt that he will be even more dangerous in his 3rd season now that the suspension is behind him. But did Dallas do enough this offseason to help Dak Prescott in the passing game? The Redskins part ways with Kirk Cousins and bring in Alex Smith, who had a 104.7 quarterback rating in 2017 with the 10-6 Chiefs. But he comes to Washington with no Travis Kelce, no Tyreek Hill, no Kareem Hunt, and he inherits nothing close to the equivalent. This is the story of the NFC East 2018. Carson Wentz broke the Eagles' single-season touchdown record after throwing his 33rd touchdown against the Rams on a torn ACL. He would then limp off to the locker room and hasn't played a snap of football since. He would go not just as the Eagles' MVP so far that season, but the league MVP. Now, we've saw this movie before. Wentz would have to sit somewhere staring at a television, watching the Saints or Vikings host the Lombardi Trophy as winners of Super Bowl 52, wondering along with the rest of the football world, what if? But then Nick Foles happened, and a goal line stand against the Falcons happened, and then a blowout against the Vikings happened, and then Philly and the Eagles toppling the Patriots in the Super Bowl happened. So now Carson Wentz is faced with another what if. A what if he goes his entire career and never makes it back to that stage? Because no one would argue with you if you would say that the 2017 Eagles don't make it to a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. But no one can say the Eagles wouldn't have won the Super Bowl without Wentz, because Wentz didn't play. And although he will get a ring, it wasn't his Super Bowl. I believe there is tremendous pressure on Wentz to win one of his own. I mean, he could retire with numbers better than Peyton Manning and be a shoo-in for Hall of Fame. But if the Eagles can't win another Super Bowl, he will be haunted by the memory of watching his teammates, watching his backup, celebrate the first ever Super Bowl win in the city of Philadelphia. And this is the story of the Philadelphia Eagles for 2018. So what did the Eagles do this offseason to make their chances better to repeat? Let's look at gains and losses. On offense, no one is surprised that LeGarrette Blount is out. And although he was the Eagles' leading rusher last season, he was a part of a crowded Eagles backfield full of some very talented guys. Mike Wallace replaces Torrey Smith, which although Mike Wallace is older, to me, is a major upgrade. Torrey Smith had 430 yards and 2 touchdowns with the Eagles last season, pretty much half of what Mike Wallace was able to do in both categories last season. Torrey Smith had 7 drops last year. Mike Wallace had 3. The Eagles say farewell to Trey Burton, but then used their first draft pick to get tight end Dallas Goedert.
Hey, Dallas! The last time you were in the Super Bowl, these draft picks weren't born!
At first I scratched my head about this, because the Eagles already have Zach Ertz, and Trey Burton was a pretty reliable backup last season. But analysts has raved about Dallas Goedert's amazing one-handed catches, and his ability to be used also as a wide receiver. In fact, Goedert has been compared to Travis Kelce and the Eagles' own Zach Ertz, 2 Pro Bowl tight ends that Doug Peterson had and has the pleasure of coaching. So Dallas Goedert may actually fit perfectly in this offense. On defense, the Eagles strengthened an already scary defensive line by bringing in Michael Bennett, who will enter his 10th season, but made the Pro Bowl in each of his last 3 seasons. The Eagles didn't seem to really address in free agency or that much in the draft the one concern for the Super Bowl champs, and that's their 17th ranked pass defense. But maybe they didn't need to. Although the Eagles got burnt with the deep ball pretty often, the Eagles were still able to win 13 games. Part of that is due to being tied 4th in the league in interceptions with 19 last year, meaning that these guys made big plays when it counted. Other notable gains and losses. The Eagles lose Vinnie Curry, Patrick Robinson, Michael Kendricks, and Bo Allen from that championship-winning defense. The Eagles did bring in Michael Bennett, Haloti Ngata, and used their 2 fourth-round draft picks on Avonte Maddox and Josh Sweat. Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator, also leaves to be the coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and the Eagles promote Mike Groh, the wide receivers coach, to be the new offensive coordinator. Ceiling for the Eagles, 13-3. The schedule by default is going to be a little bit tougher. The NFC teams are literally building their offenses and defenses around being able to stop the Eagles, which is why it's usually so hard for a Super Bowl team to be able to repeat. But the reason why I think their ceiling is to do just as good as they did last year is because they come back completely healthy. And I think they even have a better roster than they had last year. Floor, 9-7. I think the Eagles are always going to be a 9 or 10 win season with Carson Wentz. I see Carson Wentz having a Tom Brady or Peyton Manning-like career. That even when it's not a great season, it's never a terrible season. There's too much talent on that team for the Eagles to not be able to win at least 9 games. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell to be notified whenever a new video comes out. Stay tuned. I will be doing a story for each and every NFL team. And once again, thank you always for watching and for your support. See you on the other side.